Not all quests are planned, and faced with this reality, one can only ask a simple question. Mambo Dogface to the banana patch? This is Opposite Attractions.
Welcome to Opposite Attractions, ladies and gentlemen, the show about theme park design that's technically possible. I am your host, and the sickest boy this week, Scottye Moore, joined as always by the 1000th happy haunt himself, Jim Murphy.
Yes, you were sick, and apparently, like every week, I am dead.
I get that good sick voice, so I could be like, Jim Murphy. Woo, he's here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you have, is it radio voice or is it tuberculosis? Tune in to find out.
So, Jim,
Speaking of tuberculosis.
Got a real conundrum on my hands here, because you know I'm a boy who loves going to Disney World, loves adventuring, but, where am I gonna vape? Hey, Jim, where am I vaping now? Because apparently old Walt, his frozen head popped out and was just like, they're not allowed to do their smoking anywhere in the parks anymore.
You will be able to vape out next to my picture on the Leave a Legacy stones at Epcot.
I think that's still technically inside the park, so I don't think I would be even...
Wait, maybe. You might be correct on that.
Yeah, it's
but
inside.
They're going to move them, though. They're going to move them out of that area. So once they move them, then you can just lean against me.
Oh, yeah. Well, once it's under much less lock and key, I'm just going to pry it off of that wall and take it home. Just be like, I've held it hostage for $5 billion. You can have this back. But, yeah, no more smoking. No more, wasn't it like coolers? Like big coolers?
Well, I don't know if I heard coolers, but they said no more loose or dry ice.
And, I really enjoy the addition of dry ice, as if people have been just like, we're gonna make the Haunted Mansion even more spooky. I'm just gonna whoop this in the ride.
There is a reason why they said no dry ice, and that's apparently because I think it was a employee, a cast member, did put some dry ice into a soda bottle and into a trash can.
What?
And things went sideways.
I'll bet they did.
Yeah, apparently not enough to do damage, but enough to kind of scare the crap out of some people. I do think that is what happened. Or it might not have been Disney, it might have been at another theme park, but I think that was enough to scare Disney into saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't allow that.
Why not just, it makes me mad because my big plan was this Halloween to bring in some dry ice and then put it at the sides of the Hall of the Presidents. That way it gets a little bit more spooky and they all look like ghosts. So now you've got Ghost of the Hall of Ghost Presidents. And then, wasn't there a third thing, or is that it? It was like loose ice.
Wagons. They don't want incredibly large strollers and or wagons.
Oh, okay. That I'm fine with. As a man who covets his ankles, I'm very proud of that one.
There were people that said, that were complaining, and other people were like, I have this gigantic stroller, and it still fits into their, thing. But I think they said there's going to be a box on the ground that they're going to have you put, if they think your stroller is too big, they'll say, hey, drive it into this little box. They'll see if it's too big, and if it is too big, I think you actually they store it for you, and you get a voucher to get a rental for free.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
So I don't think they're just going to be hey, now your little baby's got to walk. I don't think they're going to pull that crap.
I feel bad because my last trip there was the first time I ever actually smoked in Disney World, and I felt so nice. Because, before then, I thought it was no smoking, period. And then I was, looking it up, and they're like, no, you can, smoke in Italy. You can smoke, facing the France pavilion. I'm like, that's very appropriate.
You were able to smoke back between like this Tomorrowland Speedway and Storybook Circus in that back little path that the train goes by. But I'm pretty sure Tron like wiped that whole area out.
No, instead now it's like a space between Spaceship Earth and the bathrooms near Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, I remember having to go to the bathrooms over there, and it was just like walking into a cloud.
It's so nice. There's like really nice chairs and shade, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Meanwhile,
that's where they used to have the cabanas, probably.
Yeah, meanwhile, in Italy, we're just like exiled to this shame corner behind a fountain, just like quietly vaping, like, okay, there's another group of teens coming to take pictures in front of the fountain. I guess I'll provide fog effects for them. Here you go.
Well, I thought about this, and when I was a cast member, like, people were not supposed to smoke outside of the restaurant that I worked at. But sometimes people did, and I tended to not, like, really, like, bother them unless there was, like, a crap ton of people around. And then I was like, hey, maybe not do that. But, like, May 1st or whenever this takes effect, if I was there now, then I would be like, no, get that, screw you, just no.
Skedaddle, they just said something about this.
I would just, like, I would happily boot somebody out.
Meanwhile, Universal Studios, I know every single place you could vape, you could smoke, places you could go have secret sex romps. Like, Universal, I got you covered, baby. Also, if you're wondering about
don't
that...
do all those things at one time in one place.
Well, if you're wondering about the sex romps, best place is in the Velociraptor pen when the show's not happening. You just sneak up in there and hope he doesn't come out and catch you. If he does, he gets very upset. He's like, Rawr! And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. Velociraptor. We were just all horned up after riding Jurassic Park, and we had to just get our jollies off. So anyways, Jim, this is a podcast about professional wrestling, because it's WrestleMania season, which reminded me of one of my favorite news stories that we never got to talk about on the show, because it happened, I think, like, probably a few months before the show started.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And it was a WWE theme park being in the works, and their promotional photo is buck fucking wild, because it's got John Cena just gorilla pressing the track for a roller coaster over his head, as if they were going to build a giant monument to the "you can't see me" man, and he was going to be holding things up like the Hulk in the Hulk coaster.
But since it's John Cena, they wouldn't actually have to build it. They could just say that's where he was.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Okay, what the hell? The attractions are also being designed for a global market, while a full-scale outdoor WWE theme park seems about as likely as Disney World starting a Holy Land Experience-style free day. Many of the concepts featured do seem likely if they did a Hall of Fame. An Andre the Giant-themed fun house? Don't know what that's about, and that's real creepy. A haunted house, known as the WWE
It's
House
called the
of
House
Horrors.
of Horrors, and that's very bad.
It's got the Undertaker and the Boogeyman in it.
Well, no, just the House of Horrors. Wasn't that weird thing with Bray Wyatt in it? Wasn't that what that was called?
Oh man, I think you're right. A dark ride.
So it's just a busted up. It's got a broken refrigerator in it.
Yeah. A dark,
and is in Illinois for some reason.
A dark ride called Road to WrestleMania, which I can only assume is like It's a Small World, except all the children are dressed up like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. A roller coaster held up by a massive John Cena, a drop tower ride, other carnival-style flat rides, a Kuka Arm style ride. What is that? It says it's similar to some of all.
Kuka Arms are what controls Harry Potter and a Forbidden Journey, I think. And they also control the Iron Man experience that's in Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh, okay, I see.
I think that's also a Kuka Arm ride.
It says Some of All Thrills was a Kuka Arm, too?
And yeah, it's basically that it's just like a giant mechanical, like the arms you would see working in like a car factory. but with like a ride vehicle at the end of it. So anything that looks like that.
Yeah, but apparently their ride was just gonna have you in the middle of a wrestling ring, which I could only imagine was like some sort of VR thing where you're actually like wrestling a dude and you're doing 580s off the top rope.
The road to WrestleMania is exactly the same as Roger Rabbit's cartoon Spin.
Yeah,
except Vince McMahon controls where the road goes, and you never know one day to another where it's going to go.
Right. But, you know, that theme park will never get off the ground. Unlike our theme parks that are totally coming to reality, because this is a podcast all about designing our own theme parks. And this season, dear traveler, we are traveling into the world of Dungeons and Dragons for the mysterious kingdom, our theme park where you get to build your own character, take them on epic quests, earn loot, and unlike other theme parks, you get a return on your investment because depending on how good you do, you can buy shit with your coin at the end of the day. But then you issued us a challenge last week, Jim Murphy, a challenge to make a random ride. A ride's just random, I guess. So I'm going to leave it to you to explain exactly, A, what this is and what you've done with it.
I had a slight idea when I thought, okay, let's maybe do a random thing again. I did have a slight idea. This idea is called, it is a quest, and it's called the Quest for Passage.
Okay.
And my general idea is that somewhere on the theme park property, like away from the entrance, there's what looks like another exit, like a road out that is blocked off.
Yeah.
Like gated up. And the guards are like, no, nobody's ever been able to leave out this way. Like everything's dangerous. Like we send people out and they train and then they just don't come back, or they come back and they say they can't make it. Whatever. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they say, like, hey, if you want to try, you can go on this quest to, like, basically the first part of the quest is you would go to some of the shops and, like, quote-unquote purchase supplies, like, basically for your, like, your app, like your phone app.
Yeah.
So you would get all that together, and you could just skip that part, because what you would basically be told to do is to visit this guy that's, like, supposedly training people to, like, make this journey.
Danny DeVito and Hercules, yes.
Essentially, it's a simulator that is made to look like a stagecoach wagon.
Ooh, that's cool. So almost like a Harry Potter, not Gringotts, the Hogwarts Express, where you can look outside and see shit happening.
Well, you were sitting on the top of it.
Okay, so no, not what I just said. That's cool.
So it is more like it is a combination of, I want to say, like, part Star Tours, part I don't even want to say Fast and Furious, but sort of.
Okay.
And part dinosaur. So basically you would get on this thing. You'd get into, like, what you would say was the roof of the stagecoach, and you would be pushed into a room that would then have, like, the back wall drop down, and so you would have screens on all sides of you.
Okay.
The ceiling, the floor, like, you couldn't see, like, right underneath of you, of course, because that's where you're sitting, but, like, the idea would be that you're on top of this stagecoach, and the guy running the thing would be like, okay, we're going to start this simulation, see how you handle it.
So
and
you're going full Universal Studios on this one.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't actually move on a track.
Right.
So it is more like a motion simulator, so you're in this room, and, like, it starts out where you're just, like, you could either start out, like, in the woods, or in, like, along the side of a river, some sort of a beginning scene where, like, not much really happens. It kind of is more to get your bearings and see how catch some weird visuals, and, like, things flying off in the distance. But then you would go through this series of random, like, encounters.
Oh, okay.
So there could be attacks from like people on the ground around you, attacks from things in the air around you, like bad weather could happen. You would also have a driver on your stagecoach that would be an animatronic, and he would be kind of like providing silly commentary, but B, also like giving you tips for things to do to help you like survive.
Oh, okay.
So like based on what you like, the supplies you got, you could be able to do certain things to affect the ride.
All right, I'm down with that. Now, is there a point where, like, say you're a wizard, and it's called what, the Quest for Passage or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know if I really put a. I think I just called it like you just visit like the training center.
Oh,
like
okay.
Well, like a traveling training center or something.
I just have a question. If you're like a wizard, and say you have a spell called like levitate, could you cast that on the cart, and then the ride would become Flight of Passage? That's really all.
Well, that could be an idea for one of the transitions to like from like one scene to another scene. That could be a thing that could happen. Like the driver could be like, "Hey, aren't one of you guys a wizard?" Like they would know who was on the ride.
Yeah.
So they could be like, "Hey, one of you guys a wizard? Like try to get us out of this situation. Like make us fly." And then it would like you would have that special effects experience of like lifting off the ground and like flying away from the danger.
Yeah. Okay, I like that idea.
So I had, let's see, attacks on the ground, attacks in the air, bad weather. You could have combinations of all of those things. You could have like the driver suddenly like go off-roading and then like he's like driving down the side of a hill, like barely able to control himself.
All right.
There could be a thing where like you try to do a certain spell, but it doesn't work and something else happens, but it's like kind of random. Let's see. There could be like stuff where you're not involved in it, but it's like in the distance. So you just happen to see it, but like whatever happens over there, like comes toward you.
Okay.
Like, oh, there's like like you look over on like another, like you're passing by a mountain or something, and at the top, like you see a dragon fighting like an army or something, and like there's a mudslide or a landslide from like that fight.
Yeah.
And you gotta like avoid it. And one of the things I thought was that one of the endings you could get would be that your stagecoach ends up in water, and you like right as you're about to like go over a waterfall, like everything freezes, and the guy running the simulation is like, "Okay, y'all kind of effed that up, and
yeah,
like time to stop," and then like everything just resets back to normal, and then it pulls you back out. And then that's like how you exit off.
If we want to add like a shot of pizzazz to this, I've got an idea. And it's fully, like all of my ideas, based off of Mortal Kombat. Because there was I think it was called just Mortal Kombat. I guess it was like the reboot for the PS3. There was a battle mode where essentially a slot machine came down and the slot machine spun and it gave you like 3 different elements to add to the battle. So like meteors could strike in the middle of a fight, your arms could disappear and you could just start kicking at each other like that segment on Raw this week. There's like a bunch of different things that could have happened. So I like, if we want to add like a little kink of pizzazz to it, you get to spin this slot machine that's in front of the entire cart, and it will show, like, it's gonna be raining, and then there's gonna be a dragon assaulting you, and also there's a mudslide, and then you have to deal with all of that, and then you have to get through, like, 5 of them.
Yeah, well, my idea was that there would be, like, 5 different scenes total. Like maybe, like, the start and end could be kind of not super random, like, they'd all be kind of similar. But, like, the 3 in the middle would be kind of where all the, like, insanity would happen.
Oh, okay, so is there a way...
But you could do that, though. You could, I mean, it kind of takes away from the, like, surprise of it. But you could say, like, if you don't want to be surprised, you could spin the wheel and, like, the 3 scenarios would pop up on the wheel, and that would be the 3 you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it almost adds to the D&D, like, aspect of it, of, like, excitedly watching as the dice rolls, and then, oh, we got a crit fail! Oh, no, we got the success! Like, okay, we got this! Like, it adds to that excitement of actually playing a game, as opposed to it just feeling like you're being thrown into these situations randomly. But yeah, I like where you're coming from as well. Do you have, like, a way to program what would happen randomly? In other words, like, if there was a certain combination of, like, wizards versus warriors versus rogues?
I'm sure that there could be, like, an AI way to know, like, they can say, like, okay, these... I was thinking it would be for 6 people.
Yeah.
Like, every ride would be for 6 people. So I could say, like, okay, this ride is like all wizards or whatever. So like I don't want to do something like the computer would know not to do something that they just cannot handle at all. Or maybe there would be like a 1 in 100 chance that it's just something that like none of them can do anything about, and they're just in for like the ride of their life.
Yeah. Well,
like that would be your crit fail.
Okay, I'm down with that. Now, Jim, let's move on to mine. And mine's kind of, I'm going to consider it a sore thumb almost. Because, everything inside of this world has been very, like, rustic and old high fantasy. And then one day, you're just tropesing along through the mysterious kingdom. And then you see a sophisticated building made entirely out of metal, very futuristic looking, with a giant holographic purple icosahedron floating atop it. And for those of you out there who aren't nerds, an icosahedron is another term for a D20, a 20-sided object, because you're about to encounter my ride, which is the D20. So you go into you kind of go into the building, and it looks a lot more futuristic. And you remember, I think it was called Bart's Nightmare, the Super Nintendo game?
Yes. Oh, that's a horrible, horrible game.
Is it the one I'm thinking of where Bart is like strapped to the wheel and it spins and then you get like different mini games?
Oh, it's so awful. Yes.
Hey, don't talk shit. The tomato throwing game is pretty fucking great. The rest of them all suck, but that one's really good. But, Jim, what I'd like for you to do now, well, firstly, let me give you a little bit more setup. You go through it, you kind of get to see all the different experiments this place has taken on, and you find out that they're trying to figure out, like, different fantasy realms, and they're traveling throughout different universes, and they've landed in the Mysterious Kingdom to study this universe, to get ideas for their own theme park. And so they decide to take you on a journey, basically, through all their different theme parks and all their different concepts. So you get into your ride vehicle, which can contain probably like, I'm going to say 4 to 8 people. And that's when I'm gonna turn things over to you, Jim, because I'd like for you to get on the old Google machine and look up a D20 roll randomizer.
Oh, if I had my dice on me, I would do that, but yeah.
Because everything in this ride is up to the roll of a dice, and you only got one shot, but we do have 20 of these bad boys. While you're doing that, I will give you a few of my favorites. If you crit fail, you just get to ride Fast and the Furious Supercharged.
That's from the bad universe.
Yeah, a natural 20 gets you, you actually start riding Flight of Passage, and when you leave, you're at Disney World, and they've given you, like, 3 day passes. But now, that's a few of my favorite, that's the 2, like, ends of the spectrum, so
you want me to roll right now, is what you're saying?
Roll the dice.
Okay, I rolled a 14.
A 14. Okay, so this one's actually a pretty interesting one. You walk in, and it's kind of this stadium-centric thing, but it's set up very much like Stitch's Great Escape, but instead the story is the Hall of Presidents. It's kind of like if those 2 rides got melded together the Fly Jeff Goldblum style. So that's what number 14 is. Would you like to ride again?
Can I have a modifier or something so I don't have to ride that?
Yeah.
I will try to roll again and see what I get.
Okay.
I rolled a 3. That's not good.
The 3 is actually, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of like, it's a dark ride, but it's got that kind of Aerosmith, the Fuck Coaster. I've forgotten what it's called, so I'm just gonna call it Aerosmith.
The Rock and Roller Coaster?
No, it's Aerosmith's Fuck Coaster now, Jim. It's kind of like that because it is inspired by a famous band, Journey, and so it's all about their hit song "Don't Stop Believin'," but the whole time, is it Joe Perry? Who's the lead singer of Journey? I don't think it's Joe Perry. I'm fairly sure.
Oh my god, his name is Steve Perry.
Steve Perry. I think Joe Perry was a guitarist for a different man. Steve Perry.
For Aerosmith, yes.
Yeah. Steve Perry's there, but he keeps getting bothered by this small purple dragon. And he keeps trying to sing the song instead. And that's called the Journey into Agitation with Figment. That's that, right?
I really thought you were going to go with that it was separate ways, and so like the ride vehicle actually isn't there; it's just invisible.
Oh yeah. No. Okay, would you like to do another one?
Okay. I rolled a 9.
A 9, Haunted Mansion, but the ghosts vape. That's all I got for that one, really.
How would you exactly pull this off? Like simulator or?
Oh no, it's still a Pepper's Ghost, but instead we have live actors.
No, I'm saying in general, all these 20 different attractions.
Oh, this one's powered by magic. That's all I can handle with it. The only way this one's technically possible is to get a little bit of that Mysterious Kingdom magic. All right, would you like to roll again?
Okay. I got a 10, so it's one more than 9.
Much like the previous one, this one's now, it's a small world, but instead of little children, they're dragons. So
I really thought you were going to say the children all vape, and I was
no.
I was right there.
It's like there's a dragon with a Mexican sombrero on, blowing fire.
You can't even see the characters anymore. There's just smoke everywhere.
Yeah. I'll give you a few more of my favorites, unless you want to roll one more time.
Well, I keep rolling. I'm rolling repeating numbers now, so.
Okay, well, I'll tell you one of my personal favorites on here is if you rolled a 6, you got to ride the Jimmy Fallon ride from Universal, except you get a gun. And I don't mean like a Buzz Lightyear fun pew-pew gun. I mean like you get to shoot Jimmy Fallon off of his dumb little roller coaster thing and then go party with the Roots on the moon. That's one of my favorites. Let's see. Number 18, you get to actually ride the Millennium Falcon ride from Galaxy's Edge early, but you do still have to wait in the line. So you kind of just sit in that cart for 5 hours waiting to ride a better ride. Number 16, we haven't really had a sponsored ride or a ride that was inspired by like an IP, and I want us to have a superhero ride with all the new superhero stuff coming out. So I decided to make a ride based on Calendar Man. Not sure what it means, but I bought the rights to him, and I have no fucking idea what to do with it. So I'm just like, let's give him a theme park ride, I guess.
Are you being facetious about not knowing what Calendar Man?
No, I know what Calendar Man does. I don't know how to make a ride about Calendar Man.
It's an Epcot Festival roller coaster is what that is.
Number 4, Superstar Limo 2. That's right, bitch. It's back. And then, okay, I'll finish it off with this. I did have a series of them, hoping you'd get at least one, because I also had Minion Mayhem, but you get a gun. Cat in the Hat, but you get a gun. Just a lot of rides that being improved with a gun. But the final one I'm going to say is, do you remember that adorable photo of the mouse in New York City that came out a few years back, where he's climbing down the subway and he's got the pizza in his mouth?
Okay, it's Pizza Rat, yes.
Yeah. It's that adorable little creature. Well, he's been lost, and we don't know where he's at. We gotta go find him. And so this is a boat ride as you join some pirates on the 7 seas to go and try to find this adorable little creature. And that's, of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean. So, I'm sorry. We hadn't done one where I could just go buck wild and have 20 shitty pitches as opposed to one good one. Oh, let's see, a screen-based ride that was showing a better ride the whole time. Cats Don't Dance, the ride. One idea I came up with that would actually be good is the Snowler Coaster, which is a fast sled ride through legitimate snow. So, like, imagine a rapids ride, except there's snow there.
Rockadoodle the ride.
Todd Howard just recently announced that Skyrim's getting ported to Mysterious Kingdom, so that's number 17.
It's just the opening like 30 seconds of Skyrim.
I'm fairly sure I've already actually done that as a ride before, so I feel like I double dipped in that well. But yeah, that's D20 the ride, coming soon to Mysterious Kingdom. But Jim, there's only 2 episodes left until we have to shut this baby down and start it all over again. So we gotta end things with a bang, because did we do a weenie episode this season?
I don't think we did, no.
Well, next week we're gonna do the weenie, but it's a very specific weenie, because this is when you walk in and you see the forest in the Mysterious Kingdom. You see one spire poking up in the middle, and that is, of course, the Royal Palace. It could be a castle, it could be like a tomb, it could be whatever you want, but essentially these kind of kingly quarters. And that's going to have our ride for next week in the Mysterious Kingdom. But until then, Jim, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Twitter at apparently smart, and you can buy my books, my book one of them on Amazon. Please go check that out. Just search for me, you'll find me.
And you can find me on Twitter at ScottyMo, SCOTTYEMO. Buy all my 4 books on Amazon. Humble brag. Just look up Scottye Moore and you can find that. Check out all the other shows online at aloadofpurebs.com. And then, of course, remember to support the show, whether you do that on Patreon, like the Patreon saint of Op-Ad himself, Ransom Meltzer, or whether you pick up some merch, or most importantly, if you ain't got any cash, we understand, so just leave a comment on the video, leave us a rating on iTunes, whatever you can do just to let us know that you're enjoying this show that we create for you. Do it. We'll love you forever for it. But until then, remember to find Jim and me on Twitter at OpAtShow. That's spelled OPPATTSHOW. Are you down with OPP?